Welcome Stony Point Choir. Today we're going to talk about key signatures. How to find do when we're sight reading and how to tell what key you're in. And you can't do either one of those things if you don't know your lines and your spaces. So really quickly, I'm just going to review for you. In the treble clef, your lines are every good boy does fine. And your spaces are F, A, C, and E. And in your bass clef, your lines are good boys do fine always. And your spaces are all cows eat grass. Okay? These are things you really need to commit to memory, or it's always going to be difficult for you to be able to tell what key you're in. So when we're talking about key signatures can have anywhere from 1 to 7 sharps, which look like this, or flats, which look like this. Now, when we have key signatures, you're never going to have a key signature that has a mix of sharps and flats. It's either going to be all sharps in the key signature or all flats in the key signature. There is one key signature that doesn't have any sharps or any flats, and that's the key of C. It has no sharps or flats. So if you see no sharps and you see no flats, you are in the key of C. So where would do be? Do would be on C. F, A, C. Do would be right here. Here's where our do would be if we were in the key of C. Or if you learned from our ledger line exercise that you had to do, here would be your low C down here, right? Because if this is E, if this first line is E and we were going backwards, this next space would be D, which would make this line C. So here's low do and here's high do. So for our sharp keys, the trick to knowing what key you're in when you see sharps is you go to the last sharp and you call that T and go up one to find do. So in this case, the last sharp is the one furthest away from the clef. So that's this one right here. The sharp actually goes through this line right here. So that's how we know that's the line it's on. And that is the line we're going to call T. And we're going to go up one to find do. So that means this is going to be do right here. So now we have to go, okay, what is that? Do is on F, A, C, E. Do is on E. Then the next step we do, just to make sure it's not something like E sharp, is we go back and we look and we say, is there any sharp on this space? No, there is not. So that means we are in the key of E. So where is E on the treble clef? Well, you have an E up here, and look, we have an E down here. So here's high do and here's low do. Now let's do another one using our sharp keys. So to tell what key I'm in, I'm going to go to my last sharp, which is right here. I'm going to call it T. And I'm going to go up one to find do. So that means do is going to be right here on this line because this sharp is on a space. So I'm going up one to the next line. I'm going to track back and just make sure there's no sharps or anything on that line. There are not. So that means I am in the key of every good boy. I am in the key of B. Okay? We have 6 sharps here. We're going to go to the sharp that's furthest away, which is this guy right here. Oops, I'm still in a race. Let me rewrite that in. This guy right here. We're going to call that a T. We're going to go up one to find do. And then we're going to track back and see, is there a sharp on that? Yes, there is. There's a sharp on that line. So this is F sharp, the key of F sharp. And since we know that there's also an F down here, that means this is our low do, this is our high do. Okay? Let's practice some of these in bass clef, because a lot of times when our guys are sight reading, they're having to do it down low in the bass clef. So here would be your first key signature example. Looky there. The same rules apply though. You go to your last sharp, which is right here on this top space, which in your key signature is what? All cows eat grass. That's a G, okay? So this is where our T is. We have to go up one to find do. This is do, all right? So if this is G, then this top line is A. Good boys do fine always, A. So here's our do on A. So that means if we track back, there's no sharps on that line. So we are free and clear in the key of A. Let's do another one, guys. Okay, this sharp is right here on this line. So that is called T, and we go up one to find our do. So that means do is right up here on this top space. So that is all cows eat grass. So we are in the key of, let's track back, there's no sharps here, so we are in the key of G. Where is there another G on the staff? That's the high G. Oh, we got one down here too. Here's our low G. So here's where our low do would be. Here's where our high do would be. Okay, let's talk about flat key signatures now. Flat keys are a little different than sharp keys in the fact that when you're looking at flat keys, you still go to the last flat to tell what key you're in, but this time instead of calling that last flat T, you call it fa. And you can go down or up to find your do. I'm going to go up, so, la, ti, do. Here's my do, right up here. Okay, that's on the E space, right? So my first instinct is to go, oh, we're in the key of E. But then I have to look back. You still have to track back, just like you do in your sharp keys. Track back. There is a flat on that space. So it's not the key of E, it's the key of E flat. And there is a difference because earlier when we were doing sharps, we had the key of E. So E is a sharp key. E flat is a flat key signature. Let's do some more. What if I just have one flat? Can I still figure it out that way? Well, yeah, this one flat is the last flat, right? So now I call this fa, and I can go up or down to find do. In this case, since I see no other flats, I think it's safe to go down. Fa, mi, re, do. Here's my do. Do is on the F space. There are obviously no other flats besides the one that I started at. So we are in the key of F. Let's do another one, but this time, let's do it in the bass clef. Okay? Okay, we're going to go to our last flat, which goes right through this line. You see how it crosses through the line? So we know what's on the line. And we call that fa. And we walk down. Fa, mi, re, do. Okay, so do is going to be on this first space right here. And I'm going to track back. There is a flat on that space. So we are in the key of A flat. Let's do another one. Let's do ooh, 6 flats. No problem. I just go to my last flat, call that fa, and walk down. Fa, mi, re, do, right here. And then I track back. Oh, looky there. There's a flat. So that is G flat. Now I'm going to tell you a little secret. For the flat keys, they're all called something flat, except for the key signature that only has one flat. This guy right here. When you just see one flat in the key signature, that's the only flat key that doesn't have the name flat in the title. So remember, that's fa, mi, re, do. So here's our do. If you're looking at it in the bass clef, fa, mi, re, do. Your do is right here in this space right below the staff. And that's an F, right? That's the key of F. Every other flat key is going to be something flat, okay? When you have two flats, it's the key of B flat. When you have three flats, it's the key of E flat. When you have four flats, it's the key of A flat. When you have five flats, it's the key of D flat. How am I doing this so fast? Well, here's my little shortcut. The rule of fa will always work when you're finding your flat keys, calling the last one fa and counting down. But another way you can do this is if you have more than one flat in a key signature, you can just go to the next to last flat, and that's what key you're in. Because if you think about it, if this is fa, right? And I went so, la, ti, do, this right here would be the key that I'm in. And it's always the next to last flat that's the key you're in. So instead of having to count fa, so, la, ti, do, or fa, mi, re, down to do, you can just look at if you have more than one flat, you just go to the next to last flat, bam, that's what key you're in. Every good boy does. I'm in the key of D flat. Okay, here's another example of how that works. Look, I have two flats. So my next to last flat is my key signature. I'm in the key of, what is that? Every good boy, I'm in the key of B flat. To double check myself, I can do my rule. This is fa, right? Fa, mi, re, do. This is do. Oh, it's on the same thing. B flat. So you can do it either way you want. If it's easier for you just to remember, go to the last flat, call it fa, count down, do that. Okay? Of course, the only time that rule doesn't really work is when you only have the one flat. When you only have the one flat in the key signature, you really can't go to the next to last flat, right? You have to go by that. Last flat is fa, count down to do. Fa, mi, re, do. Okay? Okay, let's sum up what we learned. If we see no sharps and we see no flats, we are in the key of C. When you're reading sharp key signatures, you go to the last sharp, call it T, and go up one to find do. Then you track back. If there's no sharp on that line or space, then you're in the free and clear. It is just the letter name. So that would be every good boy does. Key of D. Now let's re-go over our flat rule. When we're looking to see what key signature we're in and we see flats in the key signature, we count the last flat, even if there's just one, as fa and count down or up to find our do. Okay, let's do this with four flats. Last flat is fa, fa, mi, re, do. So here's our do, right? This is fa, mi, re, do. This is our do. Track back. There's a flat on that. That's on the first space, so it's the key of A flat. But remember, you could also, if there's more than one flat, you could just go to the next to last flat, bam. And that way you never forget to call it flat either. If you just go to the next to last flat and go, okay, that's the key, A flat. Hopefully this will help you in our sight reading adventures that we have to be able to find do more quickly on your own and to always know what key the piece of music you're singing is in.